Very good. I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very happy. Okay, so I'm starting my recording. The lecture has been recorded already. So usually I choose the best of the lectures and then share with the students. The previous lecture we did with the weekend EMBA on Monday was very excellent. The questions were very good, spot on, and the flow was good. So I've recorded that one. We are editing that one. But today too, if I finish and I realize that this is also good, I'll choose between the two. So thank you very much, Obed Al Hassan. Thank you very much. Okay. So to what we'll be doing today is literature referencing, and our focus will be to try to understand what it tells, what requires us, what is required of us in referencing, and why referencing is important. Um, when I when I study when I do the session on plagiarism, I'll cover other things that may be needed. You see, one thing, as I said, I like this class because whenever I come here, I get new ideas on how to make the lectures very. So if you join this class in your weekend, so it doesn't have I don't have a problem. Your index number is your index number, whether you're weekend or regular. So please, I don't have a problem about your index number. Just go ahead and change your name on Zoom to reflect your index number and your full name. Change your ID on Zoom. Okay. Joseph Apia, thank you very much for joining us from the office. Joseph, I know that during being the office, you may not be able to watch it all the time, but we are recording it, so you can also take your time. And let me just give some interesting view that I received on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, somebody was watching one of the videos and actually paused the video and called me to tell me that it's like I'm standing in front of him teaching, and he's very, very happy. He's taking his time to listen. And when he actually watched the video, he's learned more than when the time he was interacting with us interacting with me in class, because there were a lot of interference and he was not able to hear certain things. Now, after watching the video on his own at home, he's learned a lot of more things, and he wanted to just say thank you. I know some of you may have set similar testaments and reflections, and I pray that when you study and you are listening on your own, it will inspire you to take your research work serious. To inspire you to take your research work serious. So, Joseph, thank you very much for letting us know where you are watching from. Interesting. So, literature review we learned last week is about argument, evidence, and illustration. And one of the things that happens in literature review is that our objective is to try to find contemporary works that have been done, review them, and use that one to support our arguments, support our arguments. So when we are doing that, we end up presenting an argument and we present the evidence. The evidence is what we call the reference. So sometimes if you write something and your supervisor says that, where are your reference? What's your reference for this? He's referring to, where did you take this material from? Can you let me know? Now, let me emphasize that the reason why that is important that we know your reference is that when you look at the definition of research, the first part is that it's a systematic and organized way of finding answers to questions. The word systematic means that the research itself has to be being able to be testable and to check for reliability and accuracy. So when you make arguments and we can't check where you took your arguments from, the challenge that we have is that we are not able to ascertain whether what you are saying is true and even test it. Please, what I said is that change your actual name, not give me your name and index number, change your actual name, your name that is showing on the ID of Zoom, to have your full name and your index number. That's what I said. Okay. Okay, so don't send me your index number. I don't need it for anything right now. Okay, good. Okay. Samuel Ayensu, I'll take care of that. KNUST bookshop needs research medicine. I'll take care of that. Hopefully by this week, I'll take care of it. Okay. So literature review is about argument, evidence, and illustration. So what we are going to do today is to learn about how to do the review process. I'll teach about the referencing, and after that I'll go to APA style referencing, and then I'll also go to the list of references. Okay. So we have here chapter 4 of our book. That's what we are looking into, and we are going to say defining literature referencing. Okay. What I'll try to do today is to let you understand what referencing is about. So the referencing is an act of providing evidence for arguments and perspective presented in our literature review when we are writing a long essay or a report. What we do is that we draw from different resources. So we need to provide a reference so that others can be able to check and even verify. So we don't expect you to just be putting arguments in your work coming from just your industry knowledge. We expect you that you are using academic references and even periodical. So if you're arguing that there's been a decline in let's say microfinance loans in a particular country, you should have statistics to support it. And that statistic may come from an industry report or even a report from the Bank of Ghana, for example. So that's why we want you to provide the references. Now, the references are provided at two places. One, in the body of the work, called in-text referencing, within the body of your work, in the body of the text when you are writing. And then one at the end of the text. The difference between the two is that in the body of the work, you are putting an argument. So we need to know where it is coming from. So usually give us the author's name and then the author's surname and then the date in which it was published or the year specific to be specific. So we want to know the source of the argument. So if you put an argument like coronavirus has been a big challenge for the Ghanaian medical fraternity, and you then put into bracket who said this. So you say the surname of the Minister of Health, and then you add the year, maybe 2020. Then when you go to the end of the work, you write a full reference so that we can have an access to it. We can have access to it. Okay. So references are provided within the text or the body of the text, and then compiled, and then sometimes they are compiled at the end of the text. So within the body of the text, you are going to tell us what you are reading. So this is how it may look like. Within the text or in-text referencing, you are going to see this. In the late 1990s, researchers argued that inflation and low wages contribute to unemployment. So who are the researchers? You have argued that these are researchers. Where are they? So Uche 2000, Benson 2003, and Mensah et al. 2004. So you realize that these are three references that exist there, and the four references that exist there. And the references are giving testament or evidence to what you see in terms of the argument that's been placed before it. Then you also have references sometimes coming not just at the end of the text, but within the body of the work. So within the sentences. So the first one is not part of the structure of the sentence. It is I put at the end of the sentence. So the full stop is at the end of it here, but there's no full stop in front of it here. So that is okay. It is now not part of the logic of the sentence. So you can read the sentence without reading the references. A similar thing is like this one. So like a comparative study, Kinsey 2006 on SME industry in Ghana and Uganda shared similar findings. So this one too is not part of the body of the structure of the sentence or the logic of the sentence. However, there are certain times that the reference itself is part of the logic of the sentence. So in that case, the surname and the year, you put the bracket on only, or the parentheses on only the year of publication. The surname will come out so that it can match with the verb that continues. So Salia found. You can't put the whole thing in a bracket and then write it. So sometimes either in the beginning of the sentence or within the sentence where you are making it come before a verb, you need to put a noun that will come before the verb. So for example, Salia found. So the Salia found, Salia is a person. So Salia found. So 2011 is put in a bracket. Here, a comparative study. The study itself is the one that is representing the noun here. So Kinsey 2006 is in the bracket. But if I wrote a comparative study by Kinsey, by means that I have to put a name after, by who. So then the bracket will then go on the 2006, and then the Kinsey will be outside the 2006. So you want to note these two things. When it is part of the logic of the sentence, the bracket is only on the parenthesis is only on the year of publication. But when it's not part of the logic of the sentence, everything comes into the bracket here. So we separate the two references by semicolon, and that's what you see here. Now, et al. Means that Mensa and others. Usually when you say 3 or more, say Mensa and et al. And I'll show you when to use the et al as we go through. Then we go to the next thing. The next thing is that sometimes when you finish your work, you are supposed to provide a list of references. And that's what you see in alphabetical order. So this could be a list of references that is put at the end of the work. Now, I need to let you understand that there's a difference between bibliography and references and referencing. Okay. Now, the bibliography is everything that you read whilst you are doing the work. Everything that you read whilst you are doing the work. Everything that you read. So bibliography refers to that, everything that you read. Now, it includes those you don't even cite in your work. So if you read something that is less relevant and help to form your knowledge, you just put it there. But in the long essay that you are going to write, we don't want that. We want the reference. References are the things you cited. So things you cited. So if I look at this particular thing, if I go to my list of references, I should see Benson coming first. The next one, alphabetical order. So Benson will come first. The next one that will come will be Kingston. Then the next one that will come will be Mensa. The next one that will come will be Sally. And the last one will be Uchi. So I'll list all of them and their full references, the title of the material, and where you can find them at. So you need to know that, take notice of that. You put the references inside the work with the surname and then the date, the year of publication, so that we know who you are referring to. Then you go to the end of the work and give us a full reference. Full reference. Okay. Now, there are different types of reference. There's Harvard style referencing, there's APA style referencing, there's Chicago style referencing, there's even engineering, IEEE, that's the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. They have their own referencing style. Now, the most of those who are in the science-based courses, you realize that in their referencing, they use the Chicago style or the engineering style, which is about numbers. So instead of putting the person's surname and then the dates there, they put numbers there. For example, the work that my thesis, my book that you are reading, research medicine, we are using a referencing style that uses numbers so that you can, when you go to the list of reference, you can locate the reference by the number in which it was assigned. Okay. But we are not going to do that. We are going to be using the APA style. Somebody say APA style. APA style refers to American Psychological Association, Psychological Association. And they are the ones who came up with this particular style. So the Psychological Association said you have to use APA style. Then business school uses APA style. And majority of university of Ghana use APA style. But in some departments, you may have MLA, which has to do, those who are in linguistics use that. But I just want you to take notice. So we use APA style, not Harvard style. I know Harvard style is very close to APA, but they are different. Okay. So if you want to know about them, you can look at the popular styles for students are APA and Harvard. In University of Manchester, where I schooled, I use Harvard style. So, I came to UG and we are using APA style. The APA style is used by a lot of American universities too, and including the Chicago style. Okay, so let's see what goes into the APA style. Let's know what goes into the APA style. So APA style in-text referencing. Now, when you are quoting something, that's a quotation of fewer than 40 words, should be integrated into the text and placed within the quotation marks. The name of the author and the year and the page number where the quote can be located. You see, the word is locate. That's all the reference is about. Location. Where can we locate the reference? Should be put in the bracket directly after the quote. Please, if you have a question, you can post it in the chat room. I'll answer speedily whilst I'm going on. Okay. So you end up seeing that the first one, knowledge, intensity, and dispersion, may be viewed as transaction characteristics which can influence the achievement of transaction benefits. So everything is stated here, and then you can see it's being taken from Boateng 2011, and then it is coming from that particular author, and then you are seeing here that what is characteristic about it is the fact that everything is a quotation. So the quotation has a surname, the date, and then the place of publication, and the page number, sorry. So you have the full thing in quotation marks. However, sometimes some students like to pass judgment on what they are reading. So they put it in the body of a sentence they are writing already. It has been argued that political instability, poor governance, and lack of foreign direct investment to be the critical factors influencing unemployment in Egypt. Okay, so in this one, you see that the sentence that we are picking, the quotation that we are picking is coming from Salia 2011, page 5. And you have the actual quotation being put, part of the quotation being put into inverted commas. But there's a sentence, there's a phrase before it has been argued that, or this person contributed that, or this person hypothesized that. Now, all that we are, or defined that, all that we are trying to see the difference between the two is that one of them, you are just picking the full sentence, not adding anything. The other one, you are picking an aspect of the sentence. Somebody as a prof, which of them should we use? I would encourage you to use the second one. If throughout your whole work you are just if what you are writing, you are just picking from the beginning, you keep on picking the statement as is from the work, then your whole work will be full of quotations marks throughout, and that one we can't see you in it, and even we can't see you pass judgment. So everything you just say, you just pick sentences and put the whole sentence in a quotation mark. We don't expect you to do that. We want you can pick aspects of it and then use it in your work. But even citations that are full quotations shouldn't be plenty in your work unless necessary. The reason is that we also expect you to learn how to paraphrase. That's why I said I have to teach you plagiarism. Paraphrasing means that you are able to write it in your own words and still attribute the reference to the person who gave the idea or the concept, but you write it in your own words or water it down in a way that it comes to show that it's the same thing you are saying, but in a different balance of language, like you write it in a different way. Okay. So what you see here is the quotation marks that you are going to, your quotation marks that are supposed to put on the statement you have picked from the body of work that you are reading. There are certain times that I'll answer your questions. I've seen, good. So let me answer the questions one by one. First of all, Hassan, you are saying that there's a comma and then between the name and year, but some there isn't. Good, it has to be consistent. So the earlier example I showed you was not APA. I'm just showing different examples. So some references, some styles don't have a comma here. Others have it, but in APA you need it. There should be a comma here. So sometimes you see some journals that are reading, they have their own referencing style. They may not require commas here, but APA require comma there. Okay, so we are studying the APA. Let's be focused. So if it is more than 40 words, you will have to have a quotation. The quotation should be set as a block paragraph. So you separate the paragraph by use of block quotation, which is in word. You separate it from the edge of the margin of the work, and it kind of looks like it's centered in the middle of the work or moved away from the margin, the right margin of the work, or the left margin of your work, and it then has no quotation marks. So it is then stated as is, as from there, and then you put in the reference where it is coming from. So usually you see that is a full paragraph that you may pick up. Sometimes students do that when you need to. Students do that when you need to pick a definition from a work. So according to and the definition is quite long, or a section to explain a concept. For example, you want to pick material that is just outlining 3 steps of doing something from the WHO. So those 3 steps are not your steps. Unless you are paraphrasing the steps. The steps may be also more than the 40 words. So we end up stating them in a block code so that we can see that all that thing in the block is coming from WHO. Okay. Somebody is asking that, what if you are paraphrasing and do you need to add a page number? Not necessarily, you don't need to. Paraphrasing is coming from the body of work, but sometimes you may need to, depending on how you paraphrase. Some people don't paraphrase to the percentage of paraphrasing. That's what I should say. If it looks almost very close to what you still quoted from, sometimes it's good to add a page number so that others can see where you took it from. However, it's the general rule of thumb is that when you say actual quotation, verbatim, put the page number. Verbatim, put the page number. Okay. Is there any reason to prefer a particular referencing style beyond the other? Yes. The department you belong to may be subscribing to a particular referencing style. So you have to use that one. So the university have selected APA, so you have to focus on that. And the journals that sometimes people write to, the journals have their own type of referencing style or what they may recommend. Does it mean that citation, inter-citation can appear in the sentence and or at the end of the sentence for your period exam? Yes, it can be in the beginning of the sentence or can be in the end of the sentence. All right, or even within the sentence. So three places: beginning of the sentence, within the sentence, and end of the sentence. But whenever it is prefixing a verb, you need to remember that the name will be outside the bracket. The bracket will be on only the year and then the page number if the need be. So if you say Kwamena defined that, now Kwamena is the surname, and so maybe I took Kwamena. So Kwamena defined that. Now defined is now going to be a verb. So Kwamena 2017, only the 2017 in the bracket. Kwamena will be outside the bracket because it's now beginning and it's coming before a verb. But if I say a study on this and on microfinance, find out this and define this as this, I can then put Kwamena 2017 at the end of the work because I'm not using it in this part of the logic of the sentence. So just keep that in mind, the logic of the sentence. Somebody is saying, now how many references do we need? Okay, that's why I say we have to learn about paraphrasing. But in the general rule of thumb that I advise students, you should have references for every key argument. And number two, you should make sure that okay, so please let me just say, remind me that I shall teach you what I term as common errors that students do in long essays. Remind me that I'll teach you. I have a whole list of common errors. It's in the book that you have, but I'll go through with you to explain the common errors to you. Okay, now, what we are trying to emphasize here is that every 50 words should have at least one unique reference. So when you do that, when you are writing 500 words, at least the minimum number of references you will have is 7, especially depending on how much argument you are putting across. Somebody can even have 500 words, at most 20 references. But maybe between 7 and 10, maybe the minimum we should work with for a 500 word. That gives about 50 words or 45 words should be able to have a reference on their own. Sometimes the references may be repeated, but the distinct references that stand on their own, unique references, should be a minimum of about 7 for 500 words. I will even recommend that you want to go for about 10, depending on what you're arguing on. Okay. So I hope you can understand that, Esther. Okay. Then somebody saying that, Prof, in a situation where you are researching on a topic has limited revision, how do you reference those few articles without being repetitive? I advise you to be very careful choosing areas that there's very, very limited literature. It can actually cost you your long essay or your PhD. I have had an MBA student who went to choose an area that there were no literature in the field that he was belonging to. All the literature was in geography. And most of the geography papers were very technical in terms of looking at geological issues. And by the time he realized, he ended up not being able to submit the thesis because he couldn't finish. So remember that what is in your field of study? What is in your field of study? What is in your field of study? You need to know how to be able to look at your field of study and then delve into the literature in your field of study. That's why literature review is important. When you begin a literature review, you realize that the area you're researching on, is there enough papers in the area to be able to use in your arguments? Sometimes there is a specific topic you are researching on may not have enough paper, but when you step out, one of the sub things or one of the sub issues may have more papers. So you have to do a balance in there. Okay, so now let's continue with the learning about how to reference. Okay, so from here, the next thing that you should note is sometimes you are referencing from the same paper or the same author or the same group of authors, or some people who have got similar first names or second names. Okay, similar first names or second names to try and use that one to they are in your work. What you end up realizing is that you have to be very careful. If they have got they have got the similar surnames and similar surnames, you have to differentiate them because the work could be different. And then and the surnames are published in the same year, especially, you have to differentiate them. But the similar surname, they are published in different years. That one, the year will differentiate them. So let's take it, for example, you have a work by Salia in 2011. You have the same work by Salia in 2011, but there are two different reports. One of them is on access to finance. The other one is when firms fail to get money. Now, those are the titles. The one, access to finance, and the other one, when firms fail to get money. All of them published by Salia 2011. Now, when you are writing, the one that you use first, if you use the one when firms fail to get money, you use first. You give that one the A. So that will be Salia 2011 A. Then the other one about access to finance, it will be Salia 2011 B. It doesn't matter. It's about what you use first, not necessarily the alphabetical order in this case. What did you use first in your work? So look at this example. Statistics from the International Telecommunication Union tend to suggest that mobile phone subscribers currently constitute 60% of the world population. ITU 2008A. Then he goes on to do another argument, and he puts it from ITU 2008B. So there are two different reports. The reason why you are putting A and B there is that you are not trying to just show that they are different authors. You are trying to, in fact, it can be the same author, but you are trying to show that there are different reports in the same year. So that when we go to the list of reference, we can identify the actual reference. Otherwise, when you just do 2008, all we think that they are the same report. There's just one report. There's no difference. But you are saying that there are different reports by the same company or the same institution or authors. So please, how many times are you allowed to paraphrase a quote or from one source of literature? There's nothing like a number of times. I'll come to it as we go on. So statistics from the International Telecommunication Union. The first one was A and the second one was B. When you get to the list of references, you write the full reference. You show the one which comes A first, and you show the one which comes B. And you also have to put the A and B by the list of reference so that we can see which of them we are referring to. Then you also have a scenario in which you have read something, you are reading something published by Abo, and Abo has quoted Boateng and Boateng, and you want to source whatever you have quoted or what he has cited in your work. So it then becomes Boateng and Boateng 2008 as quoted or quoted in Abo 2012. The reason being that, and then the page number, you didn't read Boateng and Boateng's work, you read Abo's work. So you want to show that if there's a problem with the quotation or citation, go and see Abo. Don't come and ask me, because Abo is the one who quoted it and I'm using that one. However, there are scenarios in which you are paraphrasing, and still Abo may be paraphrased from Boateng and Boateng. You still like the concept, so you may have to go ahead and do Boateng and Boateng 2008 cited or are cited in Abo 2012. Now, what you see here is you are trying to give credit to the actual source of the work, but you have not got the source, access to the source. So you are actually using that which you are reading. Now, this particular style of writing is good, but you have to be very careful. You can't just letter your whole piece of work that you are writing with and are cited in and as quoted in and are cited and quoted in. We'll ask a time that you don't read anybody's original work. Anytime you are using other people's work, and it's like you're not plagiarizing people's references. We advise you that think carefully before you do that. If you can have access to Boateng's work, go and find it yourself and then quote it from there. Sometimes even depends on the value of what you are picking from Boateng's work. If it's just to add to a view, you may just write Boateng 2008. You may not need to write that Abo, even though you have not read it. But if you are doing an actual quotation, because you want to be very careful with the citation, the actual verbatim quotation, that's why you want to do as quoted in or as cited in. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that any student that is doing as quoted and cited and he has about 13 in his work, we ask ourselves that, so you don't read any original work. Every time you are saying as cited and quoted. So please, as much as possible, use this with wisdom. When you think you think this is okay, you can write Boateng, go ahead. Especially for a definition that has been published by, it's in the newspaper, it's in a lot of papers, a lot of different online platforms. The definition is the same coming from Boateng. even if Abo used it, and you see that another person, let's say Mensah has also used it, another person, Jackson has also used it, and also, another person too coming from Panom has also used it. And they are all quoting it just the same way. There's no need to go and write as cited in Panom or as cited in Jackson. You can just quote straight Boateng and Boateng because it seems consistently is the same definition that's going across. Now, sometimes the reason why a student may use as cited or quoted in is like he picks something from 1934 and then the wealth of nations. Maybe somebody has published an article on that, maybe an article by Adam Smith, and you want to quote from it. What you end up realizing is that because you were not there in 1934, you don't have access to the article. You may want to say something, maybe Smith 1934 as quoted in about 2012. So you then have to realize that the work, it belongs to Smith, but Abel used it and you are also using it. However, if it is a given terminology and everybody has accepted it's coming from Smith, you can go ahead and straight away use Smith's work, not to say as cited in or as quoted. So you need to weigh. You need to weigh. That's what I advise you. You need to weigh. Okay. Now, but for if you're referencing a website in the body of the work, you have to use the name of the author who wrote the article on the website, the surname. If the surname doesn't exist, you have to use your institution behind it. I mean, that's my advice. Worst case scenario, you can use the title of the work itself, what you are reading. And I'll show you examples as we go on. Now, there are certain times that you are realizing that you have to write, and then the student that you are quoting, the author you are quoting are two authors. So Jackson and Galles. And Jackson and Galles in the bracket, depending on your sentence, will have the ampersand sign. This one, the one that looks like 8. But if it's outside the bracket, it's going to be Jackson and Galles, 2008. Jackson and Galles, 2008. So you have here Jackson and Galles, 2008, and Jackson and Galles as ampersand sign, 2008. So if you look at it, Jackson and Galles, the scars, this is a verb coming in after a name. So it's going to be what? Sorry, I lost my connection. So let me just go back. I lost my connection. Okay. Sorry, I lost my connection. So let's continue. I was saying here that in APA style reference, when you have multiple authors, and what you have here is that you have two authors, Jackson and Galles. So Jackson and Galles will have the end sign as when it's outside. So now you have Jackson and Galles discuss. So the verb is coming. Hence, the name of the people should show. Jackson and Galles, the names should show, the surnames should show here. And they should be outside the bracket. Then the bracket will only be on the year of publication. Now, when you are writing, it's not part of the logic of the sentence. Some authors have argued for a reform. Who are those authors? Jackson and Galles. So that will come at the end of the work and then put it into bracket. Okay. Okay. But somebody can also write. Now, somebody can also write. Sometimes somebody can write in a way that the verb comes just before the okay, the verb just comes before the name. So now let me just give an example. So somebody argues that the work of Jackson and Galles tends to confirm this issue. So you see, you have the work of a preposition coming. So the work of Jackson and Galles. So in that case, Jackson and Galles will still be outside. So the work of Jackson and Galles 2008 have also called for a reform. So the work of Jackson and Galles, the work of Jackson and Galles 2008 has also, so in that case, it's not necessarily starting the sentence within the sentence, but there is I think it's a preposition, if I'm right, of before the name Jackson. So the work of Jackson and Gallis have discussed that a reform is needed. The work of Jackson and Gallis. So that's still Jackson and Gallis will be outside the bracket, and the bracket will be on 2008. Okay, but there are certain times that you have to use them in a body of work. So you may realize that sometimes your authors may be 3 or more, and then you need to be able to write their surnames. When the authors are 3 to 5, the best thing for you to do is that in the APA style, remember APA style, the first thing that you do is the first time you are using quoting from or citing from these authors, you are going to write their surnames in full. Jackson, Gallis, and Menza, 2008. So if it's outside the bracket will be on only 2008. If it's inside the bracket, it's going to be Jackson, Gallis, and ampersand Menza. That's the and also end sign at 2008. And the whole bracket will cover the full surnames. Now, when you do that the first time, you write the full first surnames. But the second time, you have to use the et al. The et al. Or et al. Will then become Jackson et al. 2008 or Jackson et al. 2008 in the bracket. Remember that et al. Has a full stop at the end of the al. Some of the works, they don't have that, but I'm just letting you know that with APA style, the al has a full stop. But I've seen recently that some people write the APA style without a full stop. So please just take note of that. Okay, so if I show you some examples, you see what I'm talking about. But still, they write the et al. After the second time. They don't use it the first time. Now, if you're Harvard style usually writes straight et al., whether it's 3 or more. But APA style says that when it's 3 or more, the first 3 to 5, the first time write et al. And write the full surname. The second time write the et al. But if it's more than 5, the first time you can write just et al. So 7 authors, you can just write et al. Straight. Okay. Now, let's continue from there. Okay. There are scenarios in which you need to use your writing and an author's work tends to be relevant for a number of different discussions. So to avoid that, the error that I mentioned, you are relying on only one reference for a whole given section. To avoid that error, what we tell students to do is to try to make sure that when they use the reference first, the second time they use the reference, they should try and bring another reference there before they go to the third time, the second time. So look at it, Jackson, Gallis, and Menza the first time. So the second time will be Jackson et al. That's established, it's correct. But in between the Jackson, Gallis, and Menza, and then the Jackson et al., the Jackson again, we use again. There is another reference there, Palin 2007. What am I trying to emphasize? If I just went on and just wrote Jackson, Gallis, and Menza, or Jackson et al. The second time, and third time Jackson et al., it will look like I'm not being objective. Literature review is a synthesis of available resources and materials. The synthesis requires you that every single time that you're writing, know that are there 2 or more resources coming together? Are they even supporting each other? If you don't do that, what you end up realizing is that you are just going to stay on one author and then be copying just from the author. And that leads to a lot of plagiarism issues. So you are being forced to go and look for other literature that may be relevant before you come back to the argument you have seen in the one that you quoted earlier. So I've got Jackson, Gallis, and Menza being the first one written, and that one, all the surnames are written. Then you go to Palin 2007, then you come back to Jackson et al. 2008, and that second time is used, Jackson et al. Is written. Okay. So please take note of multiple authors. When they write them the second time, you just use et al. For 3 to 5. If it's 7 and more, if it's 5 and 6 and more, you go ahead and write et al. Straight away. Okay. But if you are using them in your work, make sure that you are not quoting all one section of your work coming from only one author. it's advisable that you also look at other authors to be able to give some color and a good mix and balanced view to the particular argument you are putting in your work. Okay. Now, there are certain times that somebody asked this question earlier. You cannot mix references. You have to use only one style. Okay. Now, somebody's asking that, can you quote a chapter in a book? Yes, you can quote a chapter in a book. You put only the name of the person who wrote that particular chapter. But if the whole book is written by the same person, it's going to be the same name of the author. But if the chapters are written by different people, it's going to be the same name of those authors. And later, I'll show you how to reference a chapter in a book. Okay, so you have no author. In the no author scenario, we expect two things. If it is a report, brochure, or a book, you use italics to write the title of the book and add the year. But if it is not, but it's an article, and then it's an article, or it's just a chapter in a book, then you're going to use italics. You're going to use quotation marks. So this is a title of an article in a journal or in a book. So that chapter has no author. You're going to write it like this. But if the whole book has an author, write the author's name. But there are certain times people come across a chapter that's just out there or an article that's just out there with no author. So in that case, the title of the work will be used as the author. The title of the work will be used as an author. So in that case, you put in the brackets. You put the brackets on the year when you are using it in the beginning of the sentence. If you are using at the end of the sentence, you change it. But the quotation marks is going to be on the article title. However, I don't like this one too much personally because I expect students to try to use material that have got somebody behind it who we can hold responsible. So try as much as possible to try to find out the organization that commissioned that particular work, so that you end up using that one. For example, United Nations 1948, or according to the WHO report, 2009 report on health education. So you focus on the institution that is spearheading that particular article or argument. Prof, I learned that I shouldn't write more than 10 lines without reference in any writer. That's the same thing as 50 words. In fact, 10 lines is even too much. I even look for five lines because each line is about 10 words, roughly. 5 lines is 50 words. So I say 50 words. Unless you are presenting your case study, that one it can happen. You can have full discussions without a writer, without a case, without a particular reference in it. But sometimes you may even use references from the organization that you are using your work in your case study. Okay. Somebody said, how do I reference a quote from a chapter in the book? We'll come to that. So if it's a quote and you put a quote in the work, at the end of the quotation, you still put the year, the date of the book was published, and then the surname of the author of the chapter, and then a page number where if it is an actual quotation verbatim, the page number that may be of relevance. Okay. So you have United Nations and you have got World WHO. You can use these ones as organizations that you may require you when you don't have an author and you want to use the name of the organization as a reference. Is welcome. Then there are certain times that students have finished their write-up, they need to produce a list of references. APA style requires you to list alphabetically according to the surnames of the lead authors. And then you put an ampersand between the last author, the same of the last author, and the preceding author. Okay, and then if it's 2 to 7, if it's more than 7, I think you may go straight to an R, even at the end of the list, and even the list of references. If it is more than 7, you may go straight to an R. Then use italics for journals and volume numbers. We show that. And then you indent the second line and subsequent lines, which I also showed that. And then you start every reference from a new page. Okay, so let's look at the reality. A book to be published. A book has been published. You want to use it in your work. You write the surname of the author and then the year of publication in the body of the work. But when you come to the list of preferences, this is what is going to happen. The surname of the lead author, the initials will come. If there's a second author, the surname and initials will come separated by an ampersand sign. The year of publication will come full stop. And then the title of the article will come or the book will come. And then the second edition will come. And you have the year, the city in which it was published, and then the publisher, Prince Prentice Hall. So that's how you are going to arrange it. That's how you are going to arrange it. Then you have got a chapter within a book. Now, when there's a chapter within a book, the surname of the chapter author will come. The year of publication will come. The title of the chapter will come. Then you write in the initials of the, so this is how you reverse it. The initials of the editor will come. And the name of the editor will come. Then you show that it's an edited book. So you write ED. Then you go to the title of the book, the page number of the book, the page, the edition of the book, and the page numbers in which the chapter spans. The chapter starts from page this to that page. That's what you put there. Then you close it. Then you go to the city that it was published or the state that it was published. Then you end up adding the publisher's name. Prof, please, in a situation where there are no literature on the topic, you are researching on, as Elias said, it should be an opportunity for you to create literature. How are you going to create literature? How will you create it? Literature is not just created. You have to publish paper to create the literature. So your argument has to be based on existing work. And if you don't have enough in the existing work, it's very difficult to publish in that area unless you look at it in a broader sense. So, you see, I asked students that do you want to finish your long essay or you want to spend time trying to change and contribute to knowledge? If you want to finish your long essay and then graduate, the most important thing is focus on what is relevant and is accessible so that you can explore based on the literature that is available to you. Sometimes there is no literature on the way you are looking at it. For example, a student goes to search for corruption in district assembly hospitals. You may not find any literature with corruption in district assemblies hospitals, but you may find literature on corruption. You may find literature on corruption in healthcare. You may find literature on corruption in the district assembly. But it may be very difficult to find literature that links all of them together. That one may become an idea that you have in your head. So we advise you that as much as possible, try to draw on literature that has areas that has got literature for you to engage in the discussions on that area. Okay, so the book chapter will end up being cited first. Then you write in P.S. Timaras, that's the initials of the editor, and then the editor will come. Then you know the book will come and the page numbers to span. That's expansive, also noted. Okay. It seems some of us do not have the slides. How can we get it? The slides, please, all the slides are in Sakai. Oh, all the slides are in Sakai. This slide like this, I've updated it, so you can go to Sakai and download it. In Phoenix Note, I've told you to change your name and write your index number, and so I don't know who the person is. And it looks like you have not been coming for lectures because you don't know where the slides are. Okay. Then journal articles. When you are picking a journal article, like I showed you how to download a journal article the other time, the surname will come, the title of the journal article will come, and then the name of the journal, that will be in italics. Full stop, the name of the journal will come, comma. Then you have the volume number, the page number, the page numbers, and then the issue numbers. Now let me explain something to you. All journals have got volumes and then issues. So I don't want to use my mouth to say, just go online and check it. Let's go online and check it. So I'm going to open a journal that I know about. Okay. Okay, so journal I know about, and then I'm just opening one for us. Okay, let's see. So, so there's an International Journal of Bank Marketing. Let me just show you. So you see that volume 1, issue 1, 2, volume 38, issue 3. Look at it, volume and the issue. So every year they publish a number of issues. Apparently, this particular journal publishes 7 issues in a year. 7 issues in a year. Some of them publish 3 issues in a year. Some of the issues are also called numbers. So you are going to have it here. So you are going to see that you have issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, issue 5. Okay. And sometimes they are called numbers. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Sometimes journals don't have volumes, they have issues. So they don't have issues, they have volumes. So in every year, they just have volume 37, and they'll publish all the papers in the volume 37. Then they'll go to another year and have volume 22. It happens. I'm just letting you know. But this particular journal has issues, and in the issues, you'll find the articles. This is what you see. That's how they work. So the table of contents will come. One article is here, another article is here, another article is here. So you have a number of different articles, a number of different articles. A number of different articles. A number of different articles. Okay. So you see that, okay, you see that what you have here is the different articles that have been published in the year. Okay. So volume 37. Then you can go as far as the journal, they have up to volume 1. So volume 1 was published in 1983. This shows the maturity of the journals, maturity of the journal, maturity of the journal, maturity of the journal, maturity of the journal. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So the journal, the name of the journal, please, let me show you something. It's a very good, pardon me, let me just show you something here in my, what I was teaching you. When we say name of a journal, you have, for example, you have opened a journal like this, a journal article like this. This is by improving maternal care utilization in Sub-Saharan Africa through microfinance. Gordon Abeka and Chroma and Patience Abo. And then there are 2 other authors. Okay. Now look at what is happening here. Sorry. This is the name of the journal, International Journal of Quality Healthcare Quality Assurance, volume 24, number 8, pages 601 to 610. It was published in 2011. So I expect you to actually know the journal. I expect you to actually know the journal. Sometimes the journal's name is written by the side there, yeah, if you download the article. However, if you go on the website, the journal's name could be in the heading as here. Now it's very difficult for us, it's very easy for us to see it. Or when you open an article, let's open an article. It will tell you. So look at it here. The purpose of the article is to predict consumer attrition behavior. Okay. Oh. Then at the end of the article, they have the citation. So you can even know International Journal of Bank Marketing. Volume 38, number 3. Okay. So please know that you need to know that you need to know the name of the journals. Volume number 38, volume 38, number 3. So you see that it's using number 3 here, number 3, volume 38, number 3. Okay. So going back on, we have journal article done. Then we have got newspapers. So newspapers, you got the surname initial, the year and the date. Year and the date. Title of the article, title of the newspaper will come in italics, and then the page number. Sometimes you can add a section like editorial, sports section, after you write the title of the article. Okay. And then you go to web page. Web page, we want you to write the surname of the author and then the title of the article. Now look at this very carefully. Sometimes you add retrieved 23rd. This is the day that you went there, the day you went. Or so some people write retrieved on or retrieved 23rd June 2013 from this place. Some people too don't add the date, they just write from, but it's advisable. Nowadays, it's quite important. Journals are quite specific about it. They want to know the date you went there, because some people have been telling lies. They write something and they just put there, they say you can find it from here, and they don't add the date. So if you come and query them, they say, oh, the day I went there, it was there. So they want to be able to know the date you went there, the date you yourself accessed it, the date you yourself accessed the material. So if you are picking from somebody's work and you use website, it may be better for you to go and check whether the website is still remaining functional. Now, where you have no name, no authors, you can use the, as I mentioned, the article title in italics. Sorry, the title of the article here or page in italics. But if you have to be careful, we learned that earlier that if it is, okay, this is even different. So let me leave with that. This is okay, I just want to show you something. If the title of the article is indicated using quotation marks, so if it's an actual article that has been written, use quotation mark. But if it is a report, a title of a book, then you can use it in italics. So maybe this one is likely to be in, okay. This one doesn't tell whether it's a book or an article, so we can take it as a book. But then the title is given, then you write the year. I don't like this one approach because you can use the name of the institution like we learned earlier. It's better use the name of the institution. You can put the name of the institution here. Help Scout 2013, so that we can actually refer to it. When you go to a particular link, you can look at the title of the article and then read it for himself. Okay. When you finish, you're supposed to produce the list of references. APA style requires you that the first line will be a hanging sentence, the second lines are indented, and the third line is indented. So throughout, so only one line is written as on its own. The first line, the second and third and fourth lines will be hanging will be indented, so that the first line become a hanging sentence. So that's what you see here. But this is only just one line, so it's just a full thing is coming here. Then this one, the second time, the thing is hung here, the third one to the same, the third, fourth one to the same. Okay. And you put in the list of references. Here you put the ampersand sign for the list of references. Use the ampersand sign instead of the end sign, the ampersand sign. And see the same thing here, Duncan and Boateng R. Same ampersand sign there. Okay, please, if the journal was written by 3 or 4 people, do you write all their names or et al? We mentioned that, Amponsa, if the journal was written at the list of references here, you write all their name up to 7. If it's more than 7, you can use et al. But in the body of the work, what we said was that, in the body of the work, what we said was, in the body of, let me try to look for it, okay. Good, if it is 3 or more authors, the first time we are going to write all their surnames. The second time, we are going to use et al. But if it is at the, this is the body of the work. If it's at the end, when it is 2 to 7 authors, you can write the surname, then the later you can write you can write the surname and all. But if it is more than 7, you write et al. That's when you are here. But let me just show you something. When you go into Sakai right now, I put or you can go to Mendeley yourself. Let me just give you, there are more information on how to, contemporary approaches on how to do a reference. For example, there's a referencing software called Mendeley, and I'm on their website. They also give you the contemporary approaches or new things that are being done in referencing. So right now, I'm sharing with you the link here. So APA referencing by Mendeley. So Mendeley says that first of all, if it is not part of the, but if it's the main text, it's not part of the argument, you write Mitchell 2017. If it is part of the argument, so I'm going to the website for you to see. So we are on the APA site now. So all of you can see it. Good. I'll open it. When you scroll down to APA citation basics in text citation, when it's part of it, you say Mitchell 2017. The bracket will be on the only 2017. If it's not part of the logic of the sentence, it will be on the whole thing. So the structure of this changes depending on whether it's a direct quote. If it's a direct quote and it might contain page number. So Mitchell 2017 P110, so that I can find the page number. But if it's a paraphrase, parenthetical, the page number is not needed. Two authors is going to be Mitchell and Smith 2017 or Mitchell and Smith 2017. Then you have the 3 or 4 or 5 authors. For the first, you cite, all the names should be listed. The second time that you cite, you use the et al. So 3, 4, 5 authors. If there's 6 or more authors, you should go straight to the et al. If there are no authors, use a title of a book, a periodical or brochure report should be in italics. A title of an article or chapter or web page. Okay, so now we know it. Web page is included. Should be in quotation marks. Now, if you are citing authors with multiple works from 1 year, Mitchell 2017A or Mitchell 2017B, depending on the one which comes first. Now, if it is the same parenthesis, like you are putting it around the bracket and you are using the same author, and he has published different works, 2017, 2013, and 2016. So you end up putting it together, 2007, comma. Okay. What is he saying? With your referencing list for the table, please. What is for your book? What did you use? Oh, wow, I have to check it because I use a variation of Chicago, which you are using numbers. It's in within Word. What I use is within the Word. I'll go into Word and check. There's a name of it. I think it's called ISO. I think it's called ISO style, something like that. ISO style. There's so many styles, depending on what you are doing. I think I use the ISO style if I remember. I'll check it and get back to you because I use it and then the publisher, Amazon, also did some changes with it. So I think it's ISO style if I'm right. But it's a variation of Chicago in which you have numbers being used for the reference. When citing a group or organization, you can write the first time International Citation Association. The second time you can write an abbreviation of it. So that is also acceptable. The first time you write the full thing, the second time you write abbreviation of it. Okay. Secondary source. So Lord 1980 as cited in Mitchell 2017. We did this. Lord 1990 as cited. Now they have the word as cited is actually there. Would an in-text title include the author of a source is unknown? Oh, sometimes they do ND, or they use the owner of the website. Okay. Mhm. How to cite different source types. Okay, so let's look at it. An edited book referencing example. So the book referencing will be the surname, the initials, 2017, a guide to citation, London, and my publisher. We mentioned this one earlier. For an edited book in APA format, it's going to be William S.T.E.D. ED will come, then 2015. Referencing a guide to citation rules, third edition, New York City, New York, my publisher. Okay. Then you have an edited book chapter example. So then you're going to write the name of the chapter or the author, the year, the title of the chapter. Then you go to in S.T. Williams, ED, the guide to citation in italics. Okay. And the page number will come in addition, the New York, and then New York City, and then New York publishers. How to cite an ebook in APA format. So now you refer to where you took it from. So that will come as your year of publication, that's 2017. The surnames of the people will come. A guide to a citation retrieved from, you see, they didn't add the date. This is what I've been telling you, retrieved from, and then where they took it from. But the date should be there, in my view. How to cite a book, ebook chapter, almost the same thing. So the only difference is that you're adding the year. Then how to cite a journal article in print or an online APA format. In print, I know you have been printed yet. Okay. So Mitchell, a normal journal article will be Mitchell citation, Mitchell JA 2017 citation. Why is it important? Then the name of the journal in italics, and then the volume number in italics. The issue number is put in brackets. But if it's coming from the website, you have to add the URL from, retrieve from. How to cite newspapers in print or online APA format. Okay. So the newspaper article will become, now this is a mistake here. Okay, they didn't state the date. So it will have Mitchell JA 2017, and they put comma and write maybe April 23rd. So the date should actually come, not just a year. Changes to citations, formats shake the world. The Mendeley Telegraph, Research News. The page numbers will be PP9, retrieved from this particular page. Okay. How to cite magazine articles in print or in APA format. Send initial, year, month, day, title of the magazine, PP. Now you have here how to cite non-print material in APA format. So in this case, it's an image, for example. The year will come, the surname will come, Ophelia painting, retrieved from, good, will come. Which date format should you use when you are saying, okay, I advise you that depending on what you are doing, you can just use straight day, month, DD, 19, and then the year will come. Some people write this one like this and write comma assess on this date and write the date. Okay, but whatever date style you are using, you should be consistent. Now, it's the date that you went to the web to retrieve it. However, when you go to the website, what will come here? Let me just show you something. What will come here? What will come here will be more of the year in which the thing was published. But sometimes it's not very clear. It will be the same year that you went there. Or some people write ND. So there is no date to be specific. But you have to check it. Some of the articles, like you go to BBC website, the article has an author, it has a date it was published. So you put the dates there, then you use the author to do a selling. So you are citing an image. So you give us a affiliate paint to retrieve from. You are citing a movie, the producer name, the initial of the producer, and you use the word producer there for us to know who the producer is. Then that do the same thing for the director. The year of release, the title of the film, the motion, the title of the film will come, and then the country of origin, and then the studio, like this one, Hitchcock, producer, Hitchcock A, Rear Window. Okay. Then you are citing a TV program. Surname, initials, director, surname, initials, director, year of release, episode title. So you are watching Breaking Bad, or you are watching some of your Money Heist. So you end up writing what you have to say, or you're watching Friends. You have to put the episode title and sometimes the episode number. And then in the executive producer, surname, initials, executive producer, the TV series, the city, the state. So this one, Kathleen and Wally Johnson. Okay. Then the director. Then the year will come. The movie title will come, or the episode title will come. And then you write in, the work belongs to the executive producer. The executive producer will come. Breaking Bad, where it was, the city of the studio, and the name of the studio. What about music? So look at this. Beyonce, Diplo, Mnek, Conning, Honey, Tillman, and Roden. They wrote, so these are the writers of the song, And then 2016, Hold Up, recorded by the artist who recorded it, Beyonce, on Lemonade. And what type of it is a visual album. Okay. You say chance on the website. Okay, be careful of these websites. It can help you, but always be careful because the material you have to find it yourself. And then and some of you have been using Google Scholar. It doesn't give you the full reference very well, so you have to be very careful. These are the page numbers. New York, and then Parkwood Records, the one who recorded it, and then the year. How to cite a website. So the same thing. You see, Mitchell J.A. 2017, the year, and then the month that you went into, and the date. So this is a very interesting one. So this is when it was the thing was published on the website. How to retrieve from this. So this one, he didn't write it on the day he went there. He has actually given the date that the thing was published. That's a very good way, another way of doing it. Okay, and it ends. So you come across different approaches to addressing this issue. Just be careful of what you are doing. Okay, so this is, I don't know whether I have any other questions. Jolly, you are supposed to double click your name and then add your index number to your name. That's what we say you should do. Okay, there are some questions here. Online certificate, can we add the time access? Yes, I say add the time access. That's Richard, that's what I'm even saying, that it's advisable you write or retrieved on, you put the on here before you put the URL. Put the on here. Because the year, the month, and the day and everything could be different from the day you went there. For example, a BBC article was published on Corona on 2nd of June, 2nd of March 2020. So that 2020 will come here, March will come here, and then 02. But the day you went to the web page was maybe September 23rd, 2020. Maybe the article will be there. The day I will mark your work may be 2021. The article is not there anymore. So how do we prove that the day you went there, it was there? That's why we are trying to just work on these little things. Okay. Thank you too. Okay, so now what our advice is that please take this serious and try to complete them. Let me go to Sakai now. On the Sakai platform currently, you go to text and quizzes. Now look at what's happening here. If I look at text and quizzes, Doris, I don't know what you may have to talk to some of your friends who are very good. They can help you download the video. The videos you can easily download, unless your internet, I'll show you. I'll show you how to download it right now. Okay. So if you look at it, the chapter 3, number of people who have started is 81. Those who have submitted is 22. But this 22 is even include those who did double submission. So it could actually be that the people who have submitted are very few. And then I have added that for the literature referencing and then the quiz. Keep an eye on this page. Don't let the page, because there will be quite a number of assignments. We have been advised that we should spread the assignment so that the exam itself, it doesn't become a do and die affair. The exam is 30%, but we should spread the assignments and give them different things to do so that you can be able to get a lot of opportunities of scoring. So please take it serious. Please take it serious. So you see that some of you have, this one I put it there yesterday or this morning, and then you have it, some of you have started. Now let me show you what you are required to do on that one. So I'm going to show my view as a student. So you click on quiz here, begin assessment. Now the question says that in the 2019-2020 academic year, second semester, that's this semester, a student presented the attached research problem to his supervisor. Using the attached research problem, answer the following questions 1, 2, 3 within the document. So after you copy your answer and come and paste it here. So let's open the document. Because of you, many of you complaining that you needed to type whatever it is, I was trying to make sure that the assignment is given to you on a paper. Then you read it and do your answers and come and just paste it, all your answers. So this is the assignment. It's requiring you to read the article, and first of all, it's very, very simple. Identify one research gap from the above problem. Just brief answers. Number 2, identify a fundamental error in the research problem in relation to literature reviewed in the research problem. Okay. Number 3, briefly define the concept of referencing and identify 4 errors in the presentation of in-text references in the above research problem. And the student is using APA style, so there are mistakes inside. And finally, in your view, count how many referencing errors are there in the research problem. So you count and let us know. So that's what you're supposed to do. So you type your thing in Word, you come here, you finish and you come back and you come inside here and just paste it. Paste it. So you copy and come and paste it. Come and paste it. That's all. Paste it. And after that you submit. So I hope this one you have problems. Please take note of none of the assignments will have extensions. So those of you who are waiting till the day and thinking that I come and extend again, I want to extend again. Especially with the chapter 1 and 2, I want to extend again. The chapter 3 is also submitted that same week. Chapter 4. So start your assignments early. And these are very simple assignments. I advise you that as soon as you study it and I teach it and you get a video to watch or you read about it in the book, go ahead and then do the assignment. Go ahead and do the assignment. I also want to advise you on something. The APA style that you have learned right now, when you are doing in-text referencing or all the referencing styles, none of the referencing styles says that you should put the initial of the person in the in-text. The initials of the person is not put in the in-text. So be careful of that. Some students do a lot of that errors. They put the initial of the author in the in-text. So don't do that. Okay. So I want to see a better progress on your submissions over this week, please. If you wait and you get to middle of May and come and say that yeah, I have piled a lot of things for you, I will tell you that look at the date it was opened, the date it was given to you in April, and you had all this time to do it, and you have not done it, and you are saying that I've piled works on you. Please, I want everybody to pass and pass very well, but I need to show evidence that you are participating. That is why we are trying to help you. That 30 marks in exams is just a given. And what Dr. Oinasa and I have agreed is that we will take the similar things we are teaching you, the similar things you are to be the exam. So, for example, on the qualitative, you come back and come and meet the similar questions from here in your same exam question And you realize that it's good that you did the assignments and you did the quizzes, because it will be similar things just coming from here. It will not be anything so strange. We see similar things coming from here. So please take it, and we'll give you flexibility of choosing which of them you want to answer. So there'll be, I think, two questions, you choose one, or 3 questions, you choose 2 questions on each side. And we are giving you opportunity to choose between questions on both sides, both the quantitative and qualitative. So please, I advise you to try and make sure that you do your assignment. Somebody is saying how to try and copy and paste. I should show you how to copy and paste. Okay. What I meant copy and paste, I copy from your Word document. So I can't open my Word document to show you, but let me open my Word document and just copy something from there. So I'm waiting for my Word document to open. Okay. Okay. So I've opened my Word document. I've just copied something from Word myself. Okay, I've copied something from Word myself here. After copying the thing, I come to Sakai. I've come to Sakai. So let's say I'm doing question 1. So I'm doing question 1. Let me preview it. I'm doing question 1. Okay. And then note that the question 1, you have got multiple submissions are allowed, up to 5 times. 5 times. So it means that if you are doing, you're having a problem, you can submit it. And then later when you come back again and, you can submit it, and later on you come back again and submit another one. So I select this one, I choose. So I want to paste. All I have to do is to choose paste. The paste has come. So I don't know why you are saying you are struggling to paste. When you come and click here, paste. Don't be clicking on this one, show rich text and character count. Forget about the character count. You are supposed to provide just brief answers. So I've done that. And then I can save it. My advice, you see that when you save it goes. This is a problem most of you are having. And you have been complaining about it. So it doesn't come again for you to look at it. But I've pasted. So my advice for you to do is that when you finish pasting and you read through it, just submit. So in this case, what I'll do is that I will submit for grading. And in case I didn't type it the thing when I want to do it again, I'll use my second opportunity, because I got 5 times to submit. I'll use my second opportunity. I'll use my second opportunity to start again. Some of you have done this and you have thanked me very much. So I come again. And I come again and come and choose, do another submission. Okay. Oh, this one I have to change something here. Okay. Then I come again, I type. This time I'll not make the mistake. I'll read through everything. If everything is okay, then I just submit. So if you have done your work and you have made mistakes in that, you can go back and do resubmit again. It will only mark the most updated one. Then and that's the one that we'll use for your mark, the most updated one. And that's the one that the highest score is what will be used, recorded for you. The highest score is what will be recorded for you. The highest score is what will be recorded for you. So please take it serious. The highest score is what will be recorded for you. The highest score is what will be recorded for you. Thank you very much. Okay, I have a number of questions here. Let me just try. Now let me answer my friend's question on how to download that. So I've come here. These are the videos that you are watching. The Mendeley link is here. I'll put the new video on what you have recorded today here. But I want to know, so how to write. I click on this one. It takes me to Google Drive. This is the download button. You can download it. Download the button. Okay. So you click on it and say download. Then I save it and I download. But the file size is big. That's the only problem. But you can download. You can download. So download is here. So you can download this. You can download. Okay. But the YouTube one, you may have to use a YouTube link to be able to. There are websites that help you to download YouTube videos. So you can look for some of your friends can actually guide you. Now, as of now, most of you are currently mobile. So what we can do is maybe I'll talk to one of my teaching assistants later. We'll copy all the videos later on a pen drive and make it available to maybe you to come and copy. Maybe that's one way we could look at. But that's a long stretch. Or you can bring the pen drive that we'll copy, then come and pick it back. Something like that. We'll have to do because of the coronavirus issues. There's a lot of challenges, but you can download from there. Okay, now let me answer all the 8 questions that I've received. I've done I should demonstrate how to cut and paste again. No, I just done it right now for you. Okay. Please, how do you get access to the journal that have no PDF but only download? Okay, you can't do that. It means that your university doesn't have access to it. That is why I was teaching you the Sci-Hub. Now you have to copy the DOI, use the DOI to be able to download. Go back and watch the video on finding literature, and I'll show you how to use Sci-Hub to download it. Okay, I have submitted my assignment. Later went back and saw this, and the assessment has been modified since you submitted it. Please consult no, don't worry about it. It's because I changed the date. You see, this is a problem. When I change the date, that's what it means by modified. I changed the date of the submission from the 30th of March, April to the, what's the name? To the 11th of May or something like that. Yeah. Please, I'm a bit confused at the number of assignments you're supposed to submit. Okay, Amponsa, you have come back again with this same issue. You have got quizzes, you have got assignment. Assignment is like a term paper. That is just one research proposal. The quizzes are all based on the sessions that we do. So after every session, there's a quiz for you to be able to check whether you understand what you have been taught. So quizzes will be coming. If you have 8 sessions, all the quizzes will come. They will show up there. That's what you're supposed to be doing and doing that one. The assignment is a term paper. And now I can't tell you, or your term paper could be converted as part of your exam. That's what I can tell you maybe could happen. But I advise you that do the term paper too. So that when you, at the end of the day, you get to know that in middle of May, you get to know that, oh, that same term paper will be part of my exams. Then you know that I've done it already. So please, the assignment and term paper and the term paper is what you're supposed to be doing for now. The term paper is 1. It's about writing a research proposal. You can go ahead and watch the video on writing a research proposal or read chapter 8 of the book and start working on that one. That's why, but we are teaching you gradually towards it. So those of you who have started it, you realize that right now you can write your research problem. Right now you can write your research objectives. Somebody even sent me his own research objective for me to look at it, that is he okay? And I give him some few feedbacks. So you can't just sit down and wait one morning and say, I'm doing all the assignments. Please, let's take this serious. Okay. So you have got the test here, the test here, they'll be coming up every week. Test as if you are in class. If you ask your mates who I taught earlier, every time I come to class, I quiz them on what I taught last week so that I'm sure that they understand. Because research methods, you need it to write your long essay. So I can't let you just walk in the class and say you understand. I have to be sure you understand what you have taught and you can be able to be a good ambassador of the class. So as for this, you'll be doing a lot of these quizzes per what I teach. So today I finished teaching literature review and referencing. So you see that it is there. I finished all the literature review sessions. There are assignments that are there, very simple assignments for you to do. And you may see a bit or 1 or 2 of them in the exams. If you like, ask your friends who have written any of my exam questions before. You see questions on research proposal and questions from any of the other chapters. So that's what you will see. Okay. So your assignment is 1. Your quizzes and this are more. They are as they come. So, and the quizzes are for testing what you have been taught in a week. So if I read you this week, there'll be a quiz. If I read you this week, there'll be a quiz. And I say short answers, brief answers. It's advisable that you do the quiz just after you finish the class, maybe in the evening. Relax, as a revision for yourself. Please take this serious and understand what we are doing. It's not about, I don't enjoy marking all this plenty, but I want students to pass and pass well. Secondly, I also want students to know what they have done and be sure that you understand it. For example, a student was answering the chapter 3 quiz. And when he was answering, he realized that he didn't understand something. So he asked me a question and I clarified it to the student. The student said, okay, now I have a better understanding. He went back to be able to answer the question. So sometimes you think you know, and that's the problem most of you do. You think you know, but if I quiz you right now on the issue, you realize that this thing that he said, I didn't really understand it. Okay. Let me continue again. Let me continue. Okay. Okay. And Joanna, you say you love the pen drive idea. That one will be more difficult for me because I have to now get a pen drive, put it on it, and then find somebody to. Because in that case, who has it? Who do we give it to? Duke, please, it's not all, this is about your university. Your university has not subscribed to all the papers in Emerald. So that's why some of them, you can't download them. The university has pictures what is enough for you to be able to use. And it's truly, most of what there is enough. If you can't have that article, Duke, the best thing for you to do is to find the author's email address and write to the person. You can Google the title of the work and find the author's email address and write to the person that, please, you would like to have a copy of the paper. And then sometimes authors are proud about that. They will send you the paper for you to read. Or go to the ResearchGate. ResearchGate, you find the personal page of the author and then try to find out whether he can give you the paper. So that's my best advice for you.